Hello, everybody, and live on Zoom. I see we have a couple of people here. Let's see. So Sarah should be coming on in a minute. So unless she happens to come on. So we're just waiting for Sarah to come on any minute. So I'm so excited. We're going to have Sarah Spiritual. And she is, oh, here she is. Hi, welcome. Can you hear us okay, Sarah? Is your mic turned on, Sarah?
Hi, how are you?
Hi, welcome.
Hey, welcome to you. I'm glad to see you all safe and sound. How's everything going?
Great. Actually keeping busy and connecting online. It's a different world right now.
It is. Yeah, thank goodness like we have following that we've been connecting with across the world, right? So it helps us.
As I was saying, you know, Sarah is a very well-known spiritual medium, psychic healer. She has a radio show. I'm going to try to connect us live to Facebook. So while I do that, Sarah, can you just kind of tell everybody a little bit about yourself while I try to connect us?
I sure can, Gail. I sure can. So I became introduced to the world of spirituality in a very bizarre kind of way. I was in a computer store helping some people with setting up their programs for sale. And it was part of a big conglomeration, CompUSA. And in walked a very bizarre man who in the end ended up becoming my spiritual teacher. And through my journeys of working with him and my job in a corporate arena as a salesperson, a director of sales, tracking to be a VP, it was quite the introduction for me to learn about spirituality, and never in a million years did I think that I would embark upon this path. And that was in the mid to late 90s. And when he passed, I still had no clue that this was my path. We had talked about spirituality. I had asked my spiritual mentor about it, but it didn't seem like that was what I was lining up for. I was really right there to be a VP. And that was my goal. And I decided I would move to Florida. And it was in that movement. And I think many of your listeners, those watching, will relate to the fact that you get that push, that prompting. This is what I have to do. This is where I need to go. So I took that prompting and I decided to move to Florida. That ended up being, a journey for sure. And it was an exciting one initially. And then my whole life, as I knew it, kind of fell apart. I had an accident where I fell and I couldn't do this high-powered sales of closing $16 million deals. Everything that I thought was my world had suddenly kind of fallen apart. And I laid in the stillness, as I guess many of us are now because of this pandemic. I was in the stillness in my own little revival of self. And I asked myself, what was I going to do? And I remembered asking my spiritual teacher, do you think I'll do what you do? And he used to laugh and say, you're on track to be a VP. But in that moment, I realized that I had that free will opportunity and that he had awakened within me that energy of connectivity, that knowledge that I didn't even know existed. I did not grow up around anything spiritual other than going to church twice or 3 times a year for the holidays. And that was pretty much it. Went to Catholic school. So I had no idea I was going to choose this path. And here I was in a bed, unable to really walk. Doctors were talking about surgeries and I had to make a life choice. And I share this story with many people because we're all at that crossroad at one point in our life. Some of us, it's not as dramatic. Others, it's more dramatic. And so I was there and I chose not to have surgery. My teacher was a phenomenal healer that I had witnessed with my own eyes, heal cancer. I'd seen miracles happen. I had seen so many unusual happenings that I knew there was an energy, a force, a power greater working through everyone on this planet. And I was going to tap into that. and utilize that energy. And I did heal myself. And it was in that stillness, I decided I would open up a center in a state where I knew no one. I was new to Florida. I was only here for just a short time. And I got it in my head, I would open up a place where people could come and learn about spirituality and buy things they needed for spirituality and also get messages. The funny thing was that I had never really done very many readings. So it was a big leap of faith, as they say. So I took the leap of faith and I opened up a center in the tail end of 2006 into 7. So our official time, we really say, is 2007. And I have had the Expedito Enlightenment Center in West Palm, where I've been doing readings. I have a full line of products, spiritual products that I create. I am an artisan of spiritual sprays, oils, incense, spiritual baths and cleansings. And of course, we have a full range of spiritual products at my center. And I do readings there every day. And I connect with people as a spiritual advisor, a mentor. I tap into spirit also channeling music. I tune in and channel original music, and that is performed live through me to give people messages. So that's something else that I do. And all of the gifts that we all have, spirit will use when we pick the path that we're meant to pick. And I'm fortunate enough that the things I had done before in life gave me some things to utilize in this journey of spirituality and assisting others on their path.
So I'm trying to set up live Facebook. I'm having kind of an issue. So people can see me, or I can point them at the computer, but it's not going to be very good quality. So if you are listening on my Facebook, it will be a lot better if you could get the link that I put in my Facebook and join us through Zoom. Because also, if you join us through Zoom, you can interact with us and ask us some questions. And so, so people, if you want to start to send us a question or something in the chat, and I can look at that as we're going, and then maybe Sarah can tell us, call a few people. But anyway, tell us a little bit about what do you think about, what are we going through right now with this whole, coronavirus? Did you see any of this coming?
Well, I think a lot of people felt something was coming. I just don't think many of us knew exactly what was going to come, right? So I was telling some of my students last night in class, I was looking in the mirror one day after this all started, and I was kind of putting mascara on. I was like, really, guys? You couldn't manifest in front of me and go, hold on, Sarah, there's a pandemic coming. But really, Gail, what could we have changed? This was already in the conscious collective. It was accumulative. The astrology reinforces we are in the same planetary formations as we were during the 1918 pandemic, 1917, 18. So we are in those planetary formations that we were coming into. We're also in a lot of other planetary formations as we move through these next couple of months that are mirroring very monumental times in America and in the world. And so
you're saying, Sarah, that the stuff in the astrology that was the same as the Spanish flu and same as other times of crisis,
yes,
we've got the same aspects again?
They are. The planets are forming in a way, it's actually coming into this fall, we were in the same formation of the Revolutionary War. And now we're in the pandemic and we're in the Spanish flu energy. Also, the planets are getting ready to form, and I'm not an astrologer, but I follow some very history-based astrologists, and they have been sharing, astrologers that they share that, we're coming upon the times when we were in the times of the 1930s, 1934, 1935. So that whatever was going on in history during those times, it's really important. Also, if you look back in history, besides the Spanish flu, we've got the Salem witch trials, right? So we're going to have a lot of energy where people are going to be questioning their faith, their religions, who's right, who's wrong. So it's a lot of civil disruption for people to really come to a knowledge of who they are, who they've come to be. So we have a lot of history backing this. And then there's one aspect, Gail, which I find fascinating, which no astrologer knows what to say. I don't think any psychic knows what to say, or spiritual advisor or medium. We're in a formation that, as long as we know of life, we don't know what those planets have ever been like, because no one was around to record the formation, that we weren't recording past, let's say, 500 years ago. So we don't know what's really going to happen. So there's some astrological influences. Now, Gail, and I think you're with me on this, we have free will. So I feel like the planets set a momentum, an energetic frequency out there, but we as humans have the choice to how we're going to respond and whether we're going to feed into the frenzy. And what we're seeing now is a lot of people in this fear mode. And I've been sharing with people, it's like a hypnotic event. We're almost being in this hypnotic energy and getting caught in this energy of fear. And that is debilitating.
It's also, you know, a time of spiritual challenge, and a time for us to wake up. And challenges are usually not very pleasant. You know, when we have a spiritual awakening or spiritual growth, and people say, I want spiritual enlightenment. Well, be careful what you ask for, because spiritual enlightenment usually comes through some kind of test or something you've got to go through to get that learning experience. So I think it depends on how you look at it. So we might be in fear, but how do we kind of work through that, and how can we best have a better version of ourselves through this?
Right. Trust. It's really about trust, Gail. Understanding that the power that is the spark of essence of light that resides within us is all the power that we need. And we have the power to heal, the power to transform. You're a healer, and you know you have the power to heal. So we tap into that energy and we utilize that as our strength, and for us to manage and govern our thoughts and emotions, as the Ascended Masters will teach us. One must govern one's thoughts and emotions.
Now, tell me a little bit about this other thing you do. So you do readings. I know you've done a reading for me, and it was fabulous.
We had a good time. I remember, I missed those days.
Where you did an actual card reading, but you also do this thing called soul integration. What is that?
So the soul integration is a process that was taught to me by my dear friend Sheila Gillette. And for those of you who don't know who Sheila Gillette is is a trance medium channel. She is responsible for awakening Esther Hicks to the channeling of Abraham. Wow. So Sheila was one of those people who had a near-death experience. Hers was in 1969. So she's been channeling Theo for 50 years, imparting wisdom into the consciousness of mankind. And so I was trained by Theo to integrate the soul. And what we mean by that is I spent time with Sheila as she channeled Theo. I'm one of the few people on the planet who know this particular modality. And Theo is a consortium of 12 archangels. So imagine having them as your mentor. So I sat with Theo and we went through a process of soul integration. And Theo taught me how to identify with the person that I'm sitting across from their insecurities, their fears, their blockages. You know, so many people say, Sarah, I hit, and I know you've heard this as well, Gail, I hit this wall. I don't know how to move forward, and I keep repeating the same pattern, or I don't have any luck in relationships, or I only go as far in my career and then something goes wrong, and I feel stuck, I feel stagnant. Orphans are part of that experience. So we have orphans inside of us that in an early childhood memory and experience, sometimes traumatic, sometimes just a family interaction that made the little one feel less than, not important, abandoned. Perhaps the family went through a change, the child felt afraid. And so the child, in order to not, lose their connection as far as like decirculate themselves from population, lose themselves in their connection with people, they kind of separate. And so the higher self comes in, and so that the child doesn't short circuit, the higher self comes in. And that's where you have a lot of people say, I don't remember a lot of my childhood. So the higher self comes in, removes you emotionally so you don't become so wounded and damaged and uncomfortable. But there are these little blocks of time, these moments that we remember. And underneath the surface, that orphan who's been left in the past is actually becoming the central point of attraction. And it's really the orphan attracting these experiences. If the orphan can make an unworthy person, someone who feels unworthy, win the love and affection of someone who's, let's say, unavailable or emotionally disconnected. If that unworthy orphan can make that happen inside of you, then you prove your worth. So that becomes the point that's attracting to people. So what I've learned to do is to very systematically and energetically, with the help of the 12 archangels, Theo, to go to the moments and memories, and often they repeat in different forms in one age and then another age and then another age, and we begin to grasp the little one, the orphan, and integrate them to the future. And the adult person who's sitting across from me, we go to that orphan, nurture the orphan, allow the orphan to feel safe to come, and invite them to the new life. And the results are amazing. People feel free. They feel this sense of oneness. They feel this energy of finally feeling lighter. And, you know, there have been people who've been through traumatic things. So for some of them, it was like, wow, just to release that dormant memory that was wreaking havoc underneath the surface was amazing for them.
So how do people know if they've got an orphan or this, you know, you need to do this integration? Do they come to you and say, I'm stuck some area of my life, and then you look at them and then you decide if that's something? Or do most people have this?
Well, I would imagine everybody has a moment where we kind of felt like we weren't feeling good enough or worthy. You know, that's part of the human experience because we're conditioned beings. So we are a product of our parents, their fears, their beliefs. And again, doesn't mean that people's parents are not doing a great job. It's just they learned and then they learned. So we're part of a pattern. And so often people come because they want to break a pattern. And some it's deep rooted and they don't even know that. But usually it comes up in a conversation, such as something like this, or it comes up most often as in a reading. You know, I'm reading someone and I'm saying, you know, I see you feel stuck, I feel you're stagnant, I see this change, and then this relationship fell apart, and then I go to take them to another time. I go, wow, and then you had a breakup then, and they go, yes, that's correct. And then Spirit will tell me, well, go to this particular age. And then I'll look at them and say, well, Spirit's telling me this, something happened at this age that made you feel a particular way, depending on who the person is. And they'll go, yeah, that's right. And then I'll say in the course of the reading, well, something we might want to consider is to heal that aspect so that you can go through these patterns and no longer have the repetition. So it can come up in so many different ways. But I believe everybody can benefit from soul integration. And for some people who have just been feeling hopeless, unworthy, not loved, abandoned, people who've had traumatic experiences, you know, some people who've been experienced sexual molestation, violence in their households. These things, you know, they wreak havoc on the inner being. And so we have successfully integrated that aspect. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not doing it from a point of psychology. I'm doing it from the point of the energetic blueprint of that fragmented part of your human experience and really helping you feel that oneness with the divinity that is you.
So I've got a couple of people coming on Facebook and asking who I'm talking with. I'm talking with Sarah Spiritual. We're on Zoom. So the link is on my Facebook page. If you want to get on Zoom with us, you can interact and you can actually ask questions. And I know I've got a couple of people asking, so we'll wait in a few minutes. If anybody wants to come on, if you've got your camera turned on, that would be better if we can see you and we can maybe, you know, do a little kind of look at your energy. So are a lot of people having more of an experience right now? I mean, there's a lot more people having this feeling that they need this integration session or just a general reading, you know, just to know what is happening with them specifically.
Well, it's a great question. So all of us are feeling triggered. Some of our worst fears are coming to light. We're wondering, you know, what are we going to do about our finances or our homes or our careers? The things that as humans often define us in the world are really being altered. And so if we've ever felt unsure, unsafe in our life, which is probably everybody, a lot of us have our orphans being triggered. And I truly believe that Theo, that began this teaching and actually trained just a handful of people, that started in 2016. I really feel Theo, the 12 archangels, were preparing all of us for this and preparing certain people to be way showers on this journey. So for a lot of people, they're feeling triggered. And yes, I mean, I read every day at my center. So for me, I'm reading this basically the same amount of people every day, but some of the questions are different. And I can share with you, Gail, and I know because you read people as well, you might have kind of recognized this. When I was kind of giving people a forecast of their 2020, I can't tell you how many people, but it was a lot of people. I would be like, well, life doesn't really get started for you in 2020 till like July. Then things start moving and changing. And I remember thinking, why is that seem to be a predominant message for everyone, that, wow, life isn't really going to get cracking, and, you know, things aren't going to really move in the direction of your dreams or your goals or what you want to accomplish in 2020 till like July and after. Well, now we know.
I must admit, I mean, I feel like I was pretty clueless. I feel like I should have had some kind of a knowing what was going to happen. And there were certain things in my life that, you know, I didn't see happening for a while, and thinking, you know, why is it taking so long? But I do feel like almost like a lot of us were kind of like blinded, almost like we were not supposed to know about this.
We weren't supposed to know. But then again, our wonderful friend Sylvia Brown, right? Great spiritual medium psychic, she predicted.
I know. I mean, she got a lot of flack about, you know, people thought that she was a fraud. And, you know, I mean, it's hard because not everything you predict or say is going to come true. And sometimes the energy changes. But she wrote this book back in 2008. And she clearly said, you know, in 2020, there is going to be there's going to be a virus. I mean, she you know, was very, very close on it. So that was kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah, she was very close, Gail. And also Nostradamus talked about this time. Talked about it exactly. So it's not like it hasn't been coming. It's just that, you know, we get busy. And I don't believe we were meant to know. So, you know, Gail, you work with the Ascended Masters. I work with the Ascended Master teachers. I know you do a lot of crystal healing work, and you do a lot of work and a lot of mediumship. So, right, why didn't they come down and sit there and sit us down, at least call you and me on a joint call, you know, like, and say, hey, girls, guess what? This is coming. But they couldn't, because there was nothing we could have done. What we would have sounded the alarm, but the powers that be were in charge of how this was going to play out. And I don't just mean the government. I mean the powers that be in the heavens. So they've got their hand on this, and, you know, this too shall pass.
So do you connect with, do you have your own guides that you're talking to when you do a reading? Are you talking to people's past loved ones? Do you do a bit of both? Where do you get your information from when you do a reading?
Well, I open up to spirit, the great one, spirit, to God. And it depends whether I'm getting a message from my guides. You know, I have a collective, a conscious collective of spirit guides, angels that work with me. One of them is I directly connect with Saint Germain, Archangel Michael, Master Jesus. So I work a lot with the Ascended Masters, but I have an interesting batch of spirit guides, which I am of the feeling and knowing that a lot of them were part of the collective that worked through my spiritual teacher, Bill. And I feel that they are some of my messengers. So when I read, I can actually feel different spirit guides coming in and giving me messages. And then I actually know when they're getting ready to open up a space, there's like a portal that I look into that is actually usually like right over here on the right side of me. Up in, there's like a little hole almost, if I were to describe it to someone, it's like just like a little vessel. And that's when I start to see people come in from the loved ones side, and they begin to come down the path. And then by the way I work with my guides, they show me where they are connected to a person. And so, yes, we do some mediumship work as well. I don't put my focus on that because I feel that if someone wants to come through or can come through, you know, people don't understand that they're not always available. It's not like I'm going, hey, send down so-and-so's grandmother. It doesn't work that way. You have to just allow them to come.
It's a one-way street. They come when they want to come, but you don't have a choice.
They come when they want to come. They come when they want to come. I mean, if I spend time, if I know someone, Gail, wants to connect with a loved one, and like they've said, I want to do a connection to the other side, then I would spend time developing that opening so it's easier to bring them through. And then my guides would tell me who's available. Because unbeknownst to many of us, a lot of our loved ones have reincarnated. You know, grandma who passed 50 years ago may not still be in the etheric plane. She may have reincarnated or transferred to another plane where she's not accessible. You know, and so sometimes people are like, well, I don't understand. Why can't they come through? And we don't have control over that. That is just a connection. I will say, Gail, that at times guides who are associated with the loved one on the other side, or like a spokesperson, will come through. And there's a different feeling that you get when you're talking to the spokesperson on behalf of the loved one, or the actual loved one comes through. Because when they come through, I feel it in my physical body. I can feel how they pass. I can feel something connected with them. It really depends on the person and their story. And, you know, there's a lot of times people want to know something specific, but remember, your loved ones aren't holding all of our memories the same, because they're in love and light. So when you think, oh, my mom must be really mad because of something, they don't have that energy of anger and frustration. They're in the light. So they've got that part easy.
So you use tarot cards sometimes. Which kind of tarot cards?
Yeah, I mean, I can use tarot cards. I put them down. They kind of keep me on track. You know, coming from a left brain corporate arena, I do a lot of different things. And one of my favorite things to do, I don't have anything scribbled here already, but I like to, and I think, Gail, when we were together, you saw me do this. You know, I write and I scribble, and that's like my form of automatic writing. And then, yes, so then I can put cards down and grab some cards and do that, because there's a methodology to people. But what really connects for me above everything is that each one of you listening to this, each person on the planet, you have a tone, you have a sound, you have a frequency, a vibration. So the minute I connect with someone between the sound of their voice, the energy of their birthday, not from an astrology point of view, but from the connection of the path of the soul, that opens up a portal. And then it's like down the chute, they give me whatever you need to know. That's how they'll connect for me.
So could you give just a quick general message to the collective? Is that possible? I mean, could you draw like a card or two, or do a little automatic writing for just a general of what maybe you're getting from all of us here listening, what we might want to hear?
Yeah, you know, and I don't see the chat because I don't have access to that the way my computer's set up.
We've got a few people coming on. I got some people asking very specific questions about.
What are some of the questions, Gail?
Okay, so like we have one lady, I don't know if she wants to be named, but she says she was sexually abused when she was a teenager, and she didn't start having problems till about 5 or 6 years ago. She started having problems with her sex life. Is that something that can be cleared? So when you do this fragmentation work, is that something that you can clear, like a trauma?
That would be a prime example, Gail, of something that can be cleared for her, right? Because we would go back, even if she doesn't remember much, what little she remembers of the fragmentation, or even not at all, the little girl is literally trapped. And it's an emotional thing. If the little girl is actually trapped in the past and she can't come out. And so when we go to get her and tell her we're sorry, we didn't know she was there, the emotions that come through are amazing. So soul integration in that case, for that particular person asking that question, would be a powerful tool.
And another one asking about the soul integration again, particularly for blocking abundance, or saying they're having abundance issues, could that be a fragment that has somehow gotten taken off?
Absolutely. And it's also a learned conditioned behavior, depending on your parents' viewpoint. You know, many of us have heard things like money doesn't grow on trees, or you have to work hard to get something, or maybe your parents were from a scarcity or lack. So let's look back into time. So many of us are part of the generation whose great-grandparents or grandparents, depending on your age, were a part of the Great Depression during the World War II times, right? So the World War times, the Vietnam War. So think about all the things that history of mankind has brought us, and how people have felt very afraid of abundance. So that is a learned behavior. And it could be as simple as you wanted to go to the prom and you were told we couldn't afford to buy a dress. So then that may be a memory, but there's actually an earlier memory when you're probably about 5 or 6, when you wanted something and you were told you can't afford that. And that stays with you. And as a child, you don't interpret the fact that the checkbook does not balance. As a child, you're not able to do that. You don't really understand finances. So what we hear as children, Gail, which is so important, is we hear, we can't afford that, and the child translates that to, I'm not worthy to have what I want. And therefore, if you're not worthy, you can't make all the money you want to have what you want. Now, there are people on this planet, people who you see are very successful and they have really rough childhoods, and you'll say, well, how did they move forward in spite of their poverty or their family's addictions or dysfunctionalism, whatever happened? And that answer is there are some people who have a really strong will and they overshoot and they bypass all of that, but one day, those orphans that have been dormant, they will catch up with them, because you'll hear people who built fabulous empires and then all of a sudden everything just collapsed for no reason. And often it's that fragmented part early on. So yes, lack is a very easily disassociation from the actual oneness, and is something that can be integrated in soul integration.
And another person asking, can it help with finding your soul purpose? They're a bit confused as to where they're going.
Absolutely. You know, when we try to find our soul purpose, and I heard this from someone just today, I was reading someone right before we went on this wonderful call. Someone was sharing with me that she keeps asking her angels, give me a sign. And so she pulled a card and it said, you know, trust. She got another sign, but she's not trusting the signs. And she's like, I don't feel like I'm worthy to talk to the angels. I'm like, well, what do you mean you're not worthy? So often what blocks our true purpose is our worthiness. So of course that will help tremendously with it, because if you can't imagine yourself doing something that's your purpose, because you're so used to the routine of life, you can't imagine something different, there's a worthiness factor. I can share with regard to that question that my spiritual teacher, when he went into the computer store the day I met him, everyone who came out to help this particular man came back in and interrupted the program that I was integrating for people. I was showing people how to put together a program to sell the sale program of, you know, website design and stuff, and all their training programs at CompUSA. I was helping them set that up. They had hired me to do that. And so they kept coming in and go, oh, this man's crazy. And someone else would go out to sign the man up for the class. So eventually I went out and I was able to sign him up, and he kind of threw me for a loop with some bizarre things he said. And then he came back the next day. And so the story goes on. But later on, when I was with him, learning from him, I remember I asked him, out of all the people that came out to help you, why was I the only person who helped you? And he said, because you were the person I was sent to see. And I went, sent to see? Like, that totally threw me. And I said, well, out of all the little girls in the world, you picked me to be the only person you shared this wisdom with? Like, that was mind-blowing to me, Gail, because my self-worth, my worthiness at that time, I couldn't even imagine to compare with a man that I actually saw do miracles. So out of all the people, he picked little me. So that is such a block for people's purpose. And remember, the whole time I lived this time with this man, I was still tracking on my corporate arena, my corporate path. It took the universe knocking me literally on the ground and my not being able to walk for me to get it. So we have to either wake up or we have to get kind of pushed into the right path.
So I have a lot of people right now saying that because of this coronavirus scare crisis, they've got anxiety and fear. So is there a message? Could you ask your spirit guides, is there something in general for all those people that are experiencing fear right now?
I can, and I'm going to channel that for you without my pen. Just give me a minute, because I'm going to tap into the Ascended Masters. So in the moment of now, if you just simply breathe and feel the breath of life, you'll recognize the oneness of divine spark of energy. Remember that it is this that fuels you. If you're of the world and distracted by the world, you are often disconnected from that which is in alignment with the divine God. So breathe into the energy knowing that you are never alone. Do not be afraid to call upon the angels, Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Uriel, Archangel Gabriel. Call upon the ancestors that have gone before you, for it is they that have gone and cleared this path for you. This story does not define you. It is simply a story that has been created by man. It is the accumulation of the discordant feelings of everyone's worries that have built over time, and the fear of not enough and losing control. But it is in the stillness that you will recognize that you are in more control than you ever imagined. You can control your thoughts and your emotions. You must remember that abundance is your birthright, and that all things that are given to you are given through the divine spark of energy. Call upon the violet ray of transformation to transform all negative thoughts and feelings that you may experience. Ask that all discordant experiences be removed here and now. And you have the power, the divine power, to send out a light from wherever you are to transform the environment, the atmosphere of your reality. You are a divine child. You chose to be a part of this experience by a contract, an agreement by the divine collective that you would be here representing mankind. There is nothing to fear. You would not, of your own free will, of your own divine plan, of the own divine destiny, of the blueprint of mankind, ever have agreed to come to the planet at this time if you were not fully prepared. Release the thoughts of fear. You are stronger than you could ever believe. Release the energy that binds you to lack, disease, disharmony, and be one. We are all divine beings. And the ascended masters stand holding your hand, and with the heavenly host, they will guide your every step. When fear crops up, tell it has no place here. You are a divine child of God. And the authority of God is the only commanding energy acting in and around all that you do. Therefore, you are God in motion, and tell it to be done. This is the message that you must remember for all your days, because you are an empowered being who's come to shine your light and to be stronger than you ever imagined, and to allow the vehicle of the expression of God to flow through you. And that energy, as you express it, will touch and transform first your life and those of all around you. Remember, the power of love is the all-consuming flame that consumes and transforms all, because love is stronger than any malaise, disease, and any fear. Be still, for this too shall pass, and all is well. This is from your ascended masters.
That was just lovely. And perfect, exactly what we needed to hear.
Yes.
So I have a few people saying, I'd love a little mini reading. So out of you guys, if you would put in the chat whether you have got a camera, I mean, it'd be better if you've got somebody that would come on camera.
Yeah, I'd love to hear them. If we could hear them at least, that would be great, even if they don't want to put their camera on.
Okay. So Julianne says she will come on.
Okay, Julianne.
So let's see. And Julianne's birthday is December 1st, 1993. And let's see if we can get her on. So I'm going to try to connect you right now.
Ah, we gotta love technology, right?
You know, I'm just kind of getting used to this. Okay, Jules, can you turn your camera on? There we go. Hi.
Hey, Jules, good to see you. So Jules, the first thing that comes to me really quick is you're on a soul journey. You're on a soul train, you're on a soul journey, you're making a move. And you've been going down deep in your soul for a bit now, asking the questions, who am I, who have I come to be, what's my mission? You tend to see things in the big perspective. You like things in order and you need to understand them, but you have this, well, this energy of adventure, and you feel like you've come to make a difference in mankind. There's a strong creativity within you. There's also a strong independence. And the energy that I see around you is very transformative at this time. When I spin you into 2021, which will be here before I know it, before we all know it, it's a lot of expansion. This is when I see you expanding something in your career. And if you've been entertaining the thought of having your own business, doing something for yourself, this is something that's going to kind of come to the forefront as we close out of 2021 into 2022. Seems a bit long range, but it is going to come. But you are a person of integrity, and it's really important that people tell you what they think and show you who they are, because you don't like to pussyfoot around with games, because you're really looking at the big picture of things, and things have to make sense to you. But this is your time to shine. Spend this time with yourself, learning to listen to your promptings. I see around you Archangel Michael around you. And there's also a connection with a woman who passed, who's connected to you, who stands up connected to the mother side of the family, a mother, grandmother energy. So I really want to place her in the grandmother, great-grandmother, but grandmother energy is really where she puts herself. And she seems like a strong, powerful being, a matriarch of the family. So she's with you as well. Know that your path is blessed, my dear.
I see you nodding a lot. Did a lot of that make sense to you?
I think we just have to unmute her.
Are you, let me see. Oh, there we go. Sorry. Hold on.
All right, she's unmuted on your end. Can you hear us, Jules?
Can you speak up a little bit?
Let's see here.
There we go.
Get it to work this way. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I said that every single word was true, and it resonated deeply.
Good.
What,
yeah,
wonderful.
A lot of important things coming for you, Jules. So I would suggest to journal. I know your mind goes all over the place, but journal what you want to create. And I don't care if by the middle of the book it changed from how you started the journal. Just write down what you feel every day, and it's going to put you on your path. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Can I ask a little bit about love in my life?
You can. So I have to go back a bit. I need to go back to 2017. Were we in a relationship then and something wasn't going well or something, please?
Yes, it was an abusive relationship.
Abusive, right? Yeah. So we're still healing from that. So if you may ask about your love life, Spirit tells me we're still working through 2017 to take you to where you need to be. Okay?
Okay.
If there's someone in the picture, I'm not really feeling a strong connection. So you're attracting people who are not emotionally available and showing up enough for you. But I actually feel like part of it is your wall. This year of self-discovery, self-love, and connection with God is really going to help you attract the right partner. So I'm just going to advise you to window shop for a while. Try before you buy.
Okay.
Don't really invest a lot of time in it for now. You've got some big things to do in your career.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Wow, that was very in depth. I mean, I'm very impressed. And Jules was really nodding like that. You know, that's really was right for her.
What I love about Spirit and my guides is they have this way of kind of going back and go, well, if we could take care of that, then we would be where we want to be. So it's like they're little detectives. They go to a spot in someone's life, because if we could just recalibrate some of that within our own experience, because we can't change the past, but we can change how we interpret it or how we feel about it or how we heal. And in the case of Jules, she still has some healing to do. And that relationship kind of set her back. Now, Jules would be someone eventually who would benefit so much from soul integration, because what allowed her to attract that abusive connection in her love life was probably some significant happening as a young child that made her not feel worthy of someone who's going to honor and love her. So it's all connected, Gail.
So I'm going to try to get Janet on. Janet, hi. You said you wanted a reading, so let's see if we can get Janet on. She says her birthday is 4/6/1952. Janet, are you with us? Janet, if you're there, can you
unmute? Oh, and video too. I'm sorry. I thought you could see me before. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. How are you, Gail?
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for choosing me.
Hi, Janet. How are you?
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing great. So this year, which the pandemic has put a little squash on, is your connection, your networking. I don't know if you're in charge of projects or manage people or projects and different things, but I see these connections, right? You're all over the place, right? But it's so important for you because when I look at this energy, honey, the first thing they tell me is that you are here to lead the people. You're a way shower. Archangel Michael flew right up behind you and is like, okay, I got this. But I also see the angels of harmony around you. And what's really interesting, Janet, is that they sing to you. And this is what they have for you. So they're going to give you a song through me, and I just need you to know this is whatever they want you to know, but in song. If I could run to my piano, I would play it for you, but it's easier if I just stay right here. So I'm going to give it to you this way. You may never know how much you show to others. Everyone you touch knows your love. So when you move your way through this world, remember all the angels are with you. You've got a lot of angels with you.
It was beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Wow. I mean, that really I think just really hit home. That was wonderful.
Yeah. And are you working on something specific in your spiritual practice right now? Because I feel as if the past, I gotta go back. Okay, now they're singing another song that's like joke. Oh, what a night, late December back in '63, which they don't mean that, they're just kidding. But when I go back to, I've got to go back to 2013 into 14. I feel like there was a lot of changes, a lot of shifts, and I feel like that was like a push, a catalyst that really opened you up for your spiritual path and really kind of got you sniffing around, you know, life's got to be different than this, and who am I and what's my purpose, and really opened you up to a lot of spiritual connections. Does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. That was a time of change for you, right? That 13 into 14?
I don't remember the exact years, but probably, obviously, they know the year.
They know, yeah. But you've been on a journey for the past 6 years, yes? Continual journey of spiritual growth?
At least, yes.
Yeah.
But more so, yes.
Yeah. And are you doing some kind of sound healing or sound harmony or something, please?
Am I experiencing that now?
Yeah, are you learning that, or have you been doing that to help yourself?
Yeah, I've been doing, I'm like Shreem Brizzy sometimes, and like a novena to Saint Therese, but I do know of people who do the sound healing.
It would benefit you because I feel as if there's a blockage in the solar plex, and there's a blockage in the throat chakra, and the heart seems imbalanced. But I go to the solar plex, and I feel like we need to kind of clear that energy out because there's like a power struggle energy that's still a residual buildup from the past. If that makes sense to you.
I can feel it actually. I think I have the lump there. So yeah, that makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, it's something you can work on, healing through sound, something I'd be happy to work on with you, do some healing work or even some soul integration. You might be surprised that that root is really tied to an orphan from way back when. But thank you so much for asking to be read. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. That was so beautiful. Thank you. Thanks, Gail. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to say goodbye to Janet.
Getting so good at this, Gail. Look at you.
Maybe you can kind of fill in between while I see if other people can come on. Maybe Rose can come on. Let's see.
Let's see, Rose.
So tell me, while, you know, in between, is it better if you've got a specific question?
I can do a little bit of everything. I mean, I like when Spirit does whatever they want us to do, but I've got like a whole bunch of cards here too. So you asked me to do something, so I'll let you queue up a question or two, but you asked me to kind of give a collective read. So I'm going to do what I do for my friends. I do a Sunday Fun Day reading for people. And that Sunday Fun Day reading is where I kind of channel messages for the collective group. And I do individual readings. It's usually on Sundays at 5:05 every Sunday, right on Facebook and YouTube. But I'm going to pull 2 cards for the group.
And we have Rose's is up also live. Have you got your mic on? Let's make sure you got your mic on there.
Okay, I'm going to just pull the 2 cards for the group.
Bottom left hand of your screen, there's a little mic thing. Just click that. Yeah. See, it's got a little red mic with a cross on it. Just stick your.
Yeah, we just want to click that mic.
There, can you hear me?
We
Yeah.
hear you. There
Oh,
you
good.
go.
Sorry.
Good.
Hi there. Thank you so much. This is great.
Roses are red, my love. Violets are blue. What's your question for me, please?
I've been on a spiritual journey for a lot of years. I'm a hospice volunteer, and I follow Gail. I love all of her teachings and all the gifts she's giving to us through her meditations every day. It's been amazing.
Oh, thank you.
And I guess I just want to know how much more, a way more that I can share my gift of being there for people.
Oh, that's a great question. I love that question. Rose, what's your birthday?
3/11/1958.
Okay. Well, this pandemic for you is a wake-up call. It's time to stop pussyfooting around and doubting what you can do. It is time for you to step into the true authentic self. You are a messenger, you are a way shower. You have angel cards, Rose, please. You have angel cards, yes?
I don't have
Nodding.
angel cards. Yeah, I don't have them.
You should have some angel cards.
Okay.
You should have some angel cards because you get a lot of cognitive, intuitive moments, and then you go, wait a minute, I wonder, and then if you can just check with that, because you're very intuitive, you're very much a healer and empath, and that's part of the reason why you make such a great hospice volunteer, because you really want people to feel joy, warmth, comfort. You want them to feel cared for. So you are a nurturer and a caretaker. There's a way to trust that feeling and allow the divine to act through you, because you are the expression of God in motion. And I know when you're doing your hospice work, you feel that connection with the people. You feel that you are this conduit of energy and this bridge of safety to the other side. So the same feeling that is transmuted through you to them during their final days is the same energy that will transform through you, so that you could give messages of hope to people, be it with angel cards or any other modality of connection that you choose to use.
That sounds
And it's
good.
time. This year, you're going to notice a lot of changes for you. This year, I don't know if you were thinking of moving, but there's a move, a change, something coming for you that's going to be significant. Does that make sense to you?
It really doesn't, but who knows?
Yeah, there's a change coming for you. This year's going to close out an important chapter of your life, and next year you get a nice clean slate. So you'll see something's going to pop up, and you know, I think I want to do that, and it's going to bring a major change for you.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I'm excited then.
This is a good time for you, and anything you want to let go of, any experience that's not really working for you, or people in your circle that you go, you know what, I think I'm going to step back. It's not a frequency that's working for me. You're going to notice that becoming more obvious to you, and you're going to just take a step back.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining us.
And thank you, Gail.
Thank you. So I'm going to say goodbye to you, Rose.
Okay. Bye-bye.
So, Sarah, do you find that some of the questions are relevant to more than one people on here?
I do. I feel like everybody's question has an answer for everyone. But I want to share with you all, when I pulled earlier, I want to share with you the cards I pulled for everyone who's online now as a collective reading. So let me just share this with you, if I may, Gail, okay?
Yes, absolutely.
So enlightenment, pursue your spiritual growth. Bam, there we go. So we've got the enlightenment card. So this is a powerful, powerful card. And then we've got a creative project. So a lot of you who have been tapping into your creativity, this is another important time. The other card is very significant, Gail. You're going to wait till you hear what they have to say. Children, know that your children are protected, and to tap into your inner child. Were we not just talking about that? Yes? Yes. Here we go. We were talking about ourselves as children and life purpose, for us to all tap into our life purpose. This is why we're going through some of the experiences we're going through, so that we can go into the divine creative, so that we can understand our life purpose. We can journey to enlightenment and tap into our true love, our inner child, our inner God, really.
Love that. And we all, all of us that have got kids, we want to know about our kids, right? Because that's our big fear.
Of course.
Okay, I'm going to try to get Sandra. Let's see if Sandra can come on. Hi, Sandra.
Hi, Sandra.
And then you've got a little mic thing in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. If you can just, if you can put on your camera and then just hit that little mic thing.
Start video.
Hello.
There we go, Sandra.
Let's see, I don't see, do I do the start video button?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, there.
There we go.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello, how are you? Oops, you're gone now.
So Sandra, what's your date of birth?
May 20th, 1947. Oops.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Now we see you.
Okay, yeah, I'm switching. Okay,
How are you, Sandra?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. What's your question for me?
I've started writing a book that I've thought about doing for a while, and I'm wondering, will it go to press? Should I keep writing on my own or look for a collaborator?
You're doing a good job in writing on your own. What will speed this up is to have someone who's either going to mentor you a bit in something in the structure, but there's something significant about this for October. So you've got a good window of time, and this could be ready to be edited and or go to press as soon as October is what they tell me. There's a great sense of energy of love around you, and this is a time of self-love, unconditional love, and universal love. So there's a lot of energy of love flowing through you, and I feel as if your book is a message that's almost mentoring and teaching other people. Does that make sense to you?
It does, yeah. I'm actually talking about some pretty unusual people in the book.
It's like a journey of expression of people or self and transformation. It's just got all that energy around.
This time is a real blessing for me too, just to be in a safe place and have a lot of time to myself and just a lot of freedom that brings.
It is, and that's what it's actually meant to be for a lot of us, but we're interpreting it as, what am I going to do when this happens or that happens? So, to be in the stillness, and I've been telling a lot of people, and you, Sandra, is an exact example. A lot of books, a lot of inspiration, a lot of inventions, a lot of great moments are going to be born of this time if we use this time for the highest good and we use it to go within and to align with God and to be the expression of who we've come to be. And you're embracing that without the resistance. The resistance is not so much whether we don't want to wear a mask, or we don't want to grocery shop the way we have to, or we want to go back to our life. We as humans are driven by distraction. And for you, it takes away even all the small distractions. So all you have is you and your book. And if you use this time wisely over the next 6 weeks, finding a collaborator or someone to guide you. I actually know someone there. You should be able to find them on Facebook. They're known as the book couple. You can tell them Sarah Spiritual sent you. They kind of help people kind of formulate their book a bit so that you could take it to print. But I have a strong feeling you could get most of it done on your own and just have an editor help you restructure a few things.
Okay.
All right, Sandra, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
A great creation for you. Thank you.
That was great. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to say goodbye to...
By the way, I love your singing, Sarah. I've heard it besides today.
Thank you.
You sing like an angel.
Thank you.
It is. I'm very impressed with that. So we've gone almost an hour. I'm really impressed with how fast you are. I know when you gave me a reading, you just got through a tremendous amount. Like normally people say they need like an hour for a reading, but you're just bang, 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 bang information. I mean, you just read 3-4 people just like that and gave them information like in a minute. So, a 30-minute reading with you is enough to get all the messages you think that they need?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question, Gail, because, well, as humans, we can only handle so much. And I feel people need to digest if they need to come back and ask follow-up questions. Of course, I don't remember what I said, But Spirit will tap me back in. I'll have people I've read like years ago, and I'll go, oh, wait a minute. And then I'll start saying something. They go, wow, you've got a great memory. I go, oh no, Spirit's got the memory. They're just downloading me the cliff notes of where we left off, and they're giving us what's next. So that's really what happens. And what you're witnessing happen with me, Gail, is there's just this instant boom of information that they give me. And I actually could probably give everyone their entire reading in 15 minutes if they just let me talk, because much more than that is just really all filler that we as humans need in conversation. So to blanket it in conversation, that's what really takes the time. So 30 minutes is enough. It's a pretty quick bit of information, and there's major areas that Spirit will open up. And once you identify that spot that kind of took you down the side road as opposed to the main road of your life, and we can kind of help you understand why you went down that path so that you can kind of get on an easier flow in your life or hit the next pinnacle or paradigm in your life. Once we've done that, you've got all the tools to go back and do the work yourself.
Love that. Okay, so I did put a link on my site if they want to sign up either for a 30-minute reading or if they want to have one of these whole integration sessions. Yeah. But do you want to tell them a little bit more about your radio show and about you? And
yes, thank you so much. So every Wednesday night, I am on WWNN. Last Wednesday was our 531 live show. So we have been on national radio since 2009. Our 11-year official anniversary on national radio is in May. So we're happy to have a national radio platform to connect with people. It's heard on WWNN. You can hear it on iHeartRadio, but we also stream it on a lot of the multimedia platforms. So you can catch us on Facebook live during my radio show from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern time. And you can also catch it on the replay. It's always on YouTube. And every Sunday I'm connecting with people for our Sunday Fun Day. That's really a little more informal because we don't have the radio mic. It's not that structured kind of feel of time to go to commercial. That's when I have the opportunity to, sometimes in a case like this, when I'm safer at home, so I have all my equipment here at my house, we turn around and we jump on the piano and I instant channel songs. I am a trained professional singer who actually was tone deaf and couldn't sing. That's another one of God's miracles. And I taught myself to sing, and how Spirit uses it now is I put my hands on the piano and I channel a song, much like I did for one of the questions earlier. So I welcome you to join me for Spiritually Speaking with Sarah on Wednesday nights, and of course on our Sunday Fun Days. My Facebook page, Sarah Spiritual, catch my Instagram page. I sometimes post pictures of my cat Cleopatra, who's a real trip. And we just absolutely love connecting with people. We have over 1 million people watching my show every Wednesday night. And of course, over 6-7 million people listening every Wednesday. And I hope to know that you're one of them, and drop me a line. And thank you, Gail, for sharing your friends and your connections with me today and hosting me today. I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. And your rates are very reasonable. And I would recommend if somebody wants to read them, they better hurry up, because I'm sure you're getting extremely booked up in this time. Everybody's rushing. So
yeah, I do. And you know what? I'm fortunate. I do about like 13 readings a day, just to make sure that I get to as many people as possible, no matter what time. And if you're in West Palm Beach or South Florida, when we open again, I hope you visit. And when you visit sarahspiritual.com, you see I have a center in West Palm. We have a full line of products. You'll see some of those products at sarahspiritual.com, because I have a center. And Gail, when this comes back and life is a little bit back in a different rhythm, I do hope you come and teach at the Expedito Enlightenment Center so that I can host you at my beautiful center.
That would be fun. Okay, so we're recording this, so I will be posting this. I post all my webinars on my site, gailthackray.com, and it'll be on YouTube, and I'll share with everybody. So thank you again so much, Sarah. This was wonderful.
Thank you, Gail.
Thank you, everyone, for participating. And if we didn't get to your question, you can send it in the comments, and Sarah and I will try to, get your comments if you post them on my site or Sarah's site. Okay, thank you.
Message. Bye, everyone. Stay well. Bye, Gail.
Bye.
Thanks for now. Bye.